My goodness. Okay, I'm live. Hey, I am recording. Okay, so I'm live on YouTube. I'm live on Instagram. I'm recording season 2 finale. So let me get myself situated here. I'm going to be trying to look between the two, las dos cámaras here. Oh, hey, Mari. Miss you too, girl. I feel like you live in Chicago. I don't know. I feel like you should live in Chicago. Okay. On YouTube, I think we're good to go. I see that I'm live for 50 seconds. Okay. Live on Instagram. Well, let's get started. Okay. Me pongo nerviosa. Okay. Get myself together. Okay. Hola. We made it. So welcome if you're watching on YouTube or Instagram. Welcome to the last episode of season 2. I am beyond grateful a todos that have listened to the podcast. Elevating La Cultura has had over 700 downloads, podcast downloads, and many YouTube views. So I am so thankful. Right now, I'm recording this episode live. So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, hello. I'm also streaming live on IG. Hola. So if anyone has comments or questions, feel free to post and I'll get them at the end. I'm also going to be posting or uploading this recording to Apple Podcasts so you can listen where you normally listen to podcast episodes. I'll do that by tomorrow. So I'm also so grateful to all my guests who have been vulnerable enough to share their stories and offer wisdom and advice on this very important topic of health and wellness. We had amazing guests that have talked us through their journeys and the importance of their field, as well as being purposeful to educate the Latinx community. And I'll be honest that I've grown so much this season from each and every conversation I've had. I've had to dig deep into my own life after some of the conversations and make mental shifts as well. I think that after the year that we had last year as a whole, we are valuing our mental well-being a little bit more. We are even recognizing the importance that therapy might have in our lives. We are a little bit more willing to ask for help, to talk about our lived experiences because we're realizing our feelings are valid. And if you need someone to tell you that your feelings are valid, I'm telling you, your feelings are valid. You deserve to be heard. And if you struggle with acknowledging that, no estás sola. You're not alone. I get it. I grew up thinking that in order to be considered good or una niña buena, I just had to follow the rules without question. The rules my parents set for me, the rules my teachers set for me, the rules anyone else who had authority over me set for me. Just follow them, look ahead, don't ask questions, and you'll be fine. In talking to my parents, I understand that for them during that time they were growing up, that was the way they would survive and get by. And it's understandable that it was easy for them to continue with that way of thinking as they became parents. In times of stress or anxiety, it's easiest to revert back to what is known, what is comfortable, what has worked in the past. So while I can look back and hear the words, "You turned out okay," and nod, I understand that that's a way for them to cope with the past, and that it may have been the only thing they knew how to do, and that they were wanting to create a better future for me than what was a more traumatic past for them. So while I can be thankful for a better future that my parents provided for me, I can also sit in the tension of the traumas that I'm healing from now, as well as working toward providing my children with more emotional safety to further grow their legacy. All of that can exist and take place at the same time. Complex, I know, but we should be normalizing the complexities of it all and taking small steps to try and heal and move forward. Like I've said before, it all starts with vulnerability in sharing pieces of our stories and being willing to dig a little deeper so that we can bring representation to these topics. Since many of the season's episodes were recorded in April and May, I feel like so much has shifted and changed in that time, but it has also given me the 3 months that we were in production to reflect and start making changes in my own life. So I'm going to share a few of those with you. First, if you listened to episode 21 a few weeks ago with Evelia, you heard my stories with using De Mi Tierra products and how receptive my family was to her products as opposed to other store brand products. I've been using many of her products for a while now, but since the episode, I have been using her natural deodorant for about a month now. And it definitely took some getting used to, but no one has told me that I smell, which was a huge insecurity of mine. So I'm going to say that's a win. While it was common to purchase cheaper store brands and be wooed by marketing campaigns before, we are realizing the value of natural products just like our ancestors did before us. Since talking with Dr. Angie, the pediatric and prenatal chiropractor on episode 16, I've been taking my kids to get adjusted by her 3 times a week for about 6 weeks now. We actually just got home from there a little bit ago. But the reason I was initially interested was because both of the kids were having trouble sleeping, and I wanted to see if it had anything to do with their nervous systems being on overdrive from the past year of uncertainty. For about the past 4 weeks, we did notice that both of the kids were going to sleep much sooner and not waking up as much during the night. And I was like, okay, phew, it's working. And then in the past 2 weeks, my son has also been trying and eating more foods. He was a super picky eater and didn't like much Mexican food. I mean, come on. Pero te digo that this kid will now eat a whole bowl of menudo. He's eaten pozole in the past, pero menudo con el carne? ¿Tú crees? I mean, like, who is this kid? He's also been enjoying more foods with flavor and more Mexican meals in general. En serio, I'm not lying to you. We have loved seeing Dr. Angie and the staff on a regular basis and how they become part of our family. I'll be honest, chiropractic care isn't something I would have thought of as an option for these kids, but after my conversation with Dr. Angie, I trusted her to try it, and I'm so glad that I did. I really appreciate the knowledge she is sharing with her community on treating many issues through chiropractic care. The conversations that I had throughout the season with my therapist friends like Raquel from episode 13 and Patti from episode 19, as well as my chats with Yesenia, Jess, Crystal, Vanessa, are the ones that really got to me emotionally. After those conversations, I felt more understood, validated, and like I wasn't alone in the past experiences I had as a kid. Speaking to Raquel and Patti, actual therapists, gave me hope that there will be more Latinx representation in the future, meaning that there will be more Latinx communities getting the space to talk through all of the complexities of Latinx life in the future as well. I know Yesenia and I got deep in our conversation. As I was talking with her, I was making real-time connections to our past experiences, and I appreciated her encouragement and support in our journey to not continue negative patterns that we've experienced in our youth. You can also, she has a podcast, so you can listen to her podcast, Her Revolucion, and follow her on Instagram too. To hear more about this topic. Hearing Jess and Vanessa talk about mindfulness and wellness in a holistic way was empowering as a Latina. We're often taught to believe that holistic wellness is a Eurocentric practice, when in reality, our indigenous ancestry has always been connected to many wellness practices. So really, it's not a white thing, but when we care about our body, our soul, and our minds, it's just us reclaiming the things that are already part of us. It's just that in our society, we've lost focus or forgotten or been assimilated to think differently. I was so encouraged by Crystal's desire to pour back into her community with the practices she learned as a child and continues to educate on them so that they're not lost. It's definitely what I'm trying to do as well. Also, in talking with Annabelle from Juice Vibe Bar from episode 15, I was reminded that even juicing or being mindful of what we're eating is rooted in our culture. You walk around any Mexican city and you're able to find fresh juice so easily. The freshness of food is available easily, but we've been made to believe that it's a luxury. Fresh juice or gluten-free or dairy-free options are easier to find in more affluent communities, with a higher price tag, I'll add. When in reality, it's in our roots to find value in those options as well. I was challenged to keep reshaping how I view cultural foods in general, especially after my chat with Jen on our last and latest episode. Seriously, I think my conversation from episode 23 had been the most impactful for me, and I'm wrestling with it daily. I hadn't realized that many of my internalized thoughts around fitness and food stemmed from the lack of control I was given around my food as a child, as well as passive-aggressive and manipulative comments to control how I looked in general. I definitely want to put an end to that for my children. And that's exactly what I hope comes from this season, that you find connection, encouragement, and hope in making small or big changes in your life so that we can create generational change to make health and wellness a priority. While the generations before us might not have had that as a priority since they prioritize survival and protecting their families, we have the privilege to focus on our emotional and mental well-being, which is just as important as we try to build a more just and equitable society for our kids. If any of this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave a comment on this YouTube video or on Instagram. I love how after recording each episode, I felt empowered to keep expanding this space and this platform. I'm hoping to possibly host events or workshops where we can have real-time conversations on what it means to create generational change as a Latina and for our Latinx community. I'll be taking the month of August off to record our next season of episodes, and we'll be back in September. You can follow on Instagram as we continue conversations on how we can elevate our cultura. As a teacher, or as a teaser, te digo, I'll share with you all now that I'm excited to continue sharing stories next season featuring Latinas in the education space. As we have maybe be becoming more and more aware of bias, injustice, and overall harsh realities in the educational system, I want to dive deeper and elevate the voices of our educators. You guys, this is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I'm so excited. Okay, amigos. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this conversation, please rate on Apple Podcast, share, take a screenshot to post on Instagram at Elevating La Cultura, or send me a DM. You can also comment on this YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. So, muchísimas gracias for another amazing season. Enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening. Y nos vemos pronto. Bye. Okay. So I signed off because I'm going to be uploading this recording to the podcast, but I wanted to take some time. And if anyone has questions or comments, I'm going to check. And está bien if you don't. I just am so appreciative of everything, the new followers that have been here. You just experienced the live recording of the last season, or the last episode of season 2. So I will be uploading the audio to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts later tonight, and it will be available for you tomorrow. Anyway, yes, I am so excited to keep growing and to release the next season. It's going to be good. Anyway, I don't see anything, but if you do have any questions, if you do watch the replay, always feel free to send me a DM, comment on YouTube. I really enjoy continuing the conversations, and I think that's how we grow as a community. While we share ideas, we have conversation, we challenge each other, and that's how we're going to have a better future for the next generation, which is my whole goal with this whole thing. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. I'm so thankful for all of you. And I do this for all of you and for my kids as well. So I hope you have a good rest of the day. I'm going to sign off on YouTube first and end the stream. So thank you so much for watching on YouTube, and I will see you later. End the stream. And